Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm gonna catch you up on everything that's been happening. So I was indoors on the turbo this weekend because I wanted to get the rides done early, because obviously Charlie was off work and they wouldn't disrupt my weekend. We were mildly successful. I had a great day on Saturday, like 5 hours in total, and the WTRL in the evening, which is quite intense, needless to say. Sunday, I was feeling it Sunday, and that would have been hump day. That would have been like literally the middle of the block. We're doing three-day blocks with 1 day of recovery in between. I cracked a little bit mentally there, and I only did 2.5 of the 3 hours that I wanted to do. So today, because the weather's good, well, it's warm, like look, no gloves, I'm gonna add an extra half an hour on today. The first half of this ride, I'm taking in 2 big climbs. This one, there's Swansea behind me. This is like Betus mountain range. I am boiling. It's 8 degrees and I've got a tailwind. So that's why I'm so warm, because I haven't got the wind in my face. And what I'm gonna do is descend this. Awesome descent. Awesome descent. You won't be able to see it unfortunately, because I haven't got the mount with me. But then we're gonna hit the Black Mountain, which I'll show you when I get there. And then we're gonna loop around and have like a flat headwind finish. But it's still gonna be 2,000 meters in 4.5 hours, so a big day. Now, to address the elephant in the room, you're quite rightly wondering, why have I got a bag on my back? It's not just any old bag, it's a camelback. Because I'm starting to get a little bit adventurous. I want to do more rides into the unknown, like roads I've never done before. I want to do more rides where like I can go for longer, so if I'm going to ride for 10 hours, I want to do that without running the risk of running out of water anywhere. And it's almost the one limiter to every single one of my rides that I've ever done is hydration. Like, you can ride and ride and ride without food. I'm not advocating it, but if you run out of food, you can still creep along and your body will still somewhat function. But without water, even if it's just a 2 or 3 hour ride, you're just like, I need a petrol station. But in Wales there's not many. So this is the Camelback Rogue. I don't know if you can see it, but it's one of the smallest ones, I think. So it holds about 2.5 litres, and I've only got half a litre in it at the minute. Well, I've drunk most of it already, but I literally thought it would be worse than what it is. Like, I can't, doesn't feel like I've got anything on my back. It sits really high, and like, to me, like, I don't care how I look when I'm out doing my thing, like on race day, or you know, when it really matters, then I'm kind of, you know, attention to detail matters. But you know, at the end of the day, it's practical and it's helping me solve a problem, although it does create another one, and that is I do have to stop and pee a lot more now. So swings and roundabouts, or I could just pee on the move, which is what I normally do. How did I know that this would be the case? Classic Black Mountain. Raining. This climb is definitely in the clouds today, because it tops out at almost 500 meters, and it's a relatively unknown climb. The Tour of Britain came down this way on its way to Swansea a long time ago, but this climb is like, it's just as good as any of the ones you find in the Welsh valleys. I was actually going to say that like my morale is sky high today. it usually happens, you know, when you go from one day to the next and you're in a big training block. You know, it tends to happen where you go through a patch where you don't feel great, you feel tired, and the next day, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, but sometimes you can feel $1,000,000. Today it must have been the weather, the fact that it's a lot milder. Like it was 0 and now it's like 8 to 10 degrees. Like that's played a part in it. The fact that it's the last day of the middle block of the camp is playing a part in it, which means, you know, it's nearly over and I've been successful. You know, the training I've set out to do, I've done it well and I'm happy with it. I know some of you, granted it might be a small proportion, you might want to do a similar thing. You might want to schedule like a block of riding, you know, with increased volume, or you might be a person who already does a lot of volume. In which case, like, either way, if you want to do something like this, like what I've done is just add time. And for the most part, I've only done zone 2. I've tried to keep out of zone 1 as much as possible. I've only done zone 2, apart from obviously the workouts, but I have to show up to those. But what I've done is given myself a specific target, and that's to accumulate a lot of time aerobically. Like, if you use the 3-zone system, like I'm well in zone 1, and I have been for an awful lot of time this last week. And a couple of things I've already noticed, I don't know whether you're interested or not, but because most of my rides have been at this kind of low intensity, I've tended to average and normalize around 200 watts, which at the minute, because my FTP is 333, you know, that's a comfortable, you know, 60-65% of FTP sort of range. And yet over the course of the week my heart rate has dropped. I've been averaging around 125 to 130, and like today in particular, coupled with the fact I'm feeling good, and this is where feedback comes in massively, my heart rate is now averaging 115 to 120. Small caveat though, that's not to say I'm necessarily getting fitter. It can be, but it's more likely down to fatigue and the suppression of the systems which are responsible for bodily functions, and because of that it probably dampens my ability to go really hard. Like, you know, if I was to do maximum efforts for any period of time, it would likely dampen a lot of them. Maybe not my sprint, because I have a history of doing no sprinting and then all of a sudden I pull a big sprint out of the bag. But it's something worth bearing in mind, you know, it's a long-term thing. You know, don't forget, you're going to be fatigued if you do something like this, so that plays a part in it. Or even actually, like all through my years of riding, this has been like the holy climb, you know. This is the one we've always come to, we've always tested ourselves on, the one that I guess most resembles, you know, what I love to do, which is long climbs. But I'm sure you all have a similar climb or section of road that you love or you go back to regularly. And I've been riding this road for 10 plus years and never gets old. It's all fun and games. I love it really. Well, time for a spot of lunch. It's not quite lunch on a bin, if you know what I mean. Those of you that watch Common TV, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it is lunch with a view, and I have myself here a Science Sport Go Energy Bake. I'm not directly sponsored by Science Sport, by the way, but I do get helped out with the indoor team. Why I train and why I partly love to ride my bike so much is because I want to get faster. But I don't just want to get faster at, like, you know, flat out efforts. I want to get faster when I'm riding slow. I think those are that's the balance for me. Like, the fact that I'm able to ride, you know, years ago I was able to ride for 5 hours at 30 mile an hour at zone 2, and now I'm able to ride at 5 hours at like 18, 19 mile an hour at zone 2, and be able to turn it on, in other words, go full gas whenever I want to. That freedom and that flexibility is something that I personally train for. So as much as I love performance and trying to get better, it's not necessarily at those maximum efforts. Right, let's go crush some soles.